So if you were looking for goals this week, the women's internationals did not disappoint. As you can see behind me right now, it was 10 for England, 7 for Scotland and wins for both Wales and Northern Ireland. It's been a strong World Cup qualifying campaign for all the home nations. What difference does that make to the women's game? We visited one club in Manchester to find out.
We are Manchester Laces and we're an inclusive women's and non-binary club. Manchester Laces launched in April 2021 and essentially what we wanted to do was create a space for footballers, adult women and non-binary people. We opened the doors thinking we'd have like 10, 15, 20 people turn up and now we've got over 200 regular participants. I think there's this common misconception that women and non-binary people have spent their life coming into football in the same way that boys and men have spent their life coming into football. Like at 3 or 4 years old, they're out in their garden, kicking the ball around, but it's just simply not true. Did you know that there are 650 men's teams in Manchester and there are less than 65 women's teams?
We face problems because a lot of the pitches were taken up by men. Where are we supposed to play? And we're saying, well, no, we need a space too. And very quickly we've gone from needing just 1 or 2 five-a-side pitches to 6 at times. We want to take up the space and we want to be considered, and this is how we want to spend our time.
It's not about picking it up for some women, it's about starting. I think we need this everywhere, not just more in Manchester, but in every town, in every city. There needs to be a space where people are fighting for every single person. Football in general can be a really transformative experience. I think it helps people to grow in confidence. I think it helps people to find a voice. I think people like to be connected to something. But I think in women's football in particular, what we're starting to see now when we're seeing women on our screens is we're starting to see people feel that connection that have never felt that connection before. We've created not just this club environment, we've also created this community which is about caring for each other.
Come on, Manchester Laces!
One of the players within our club actually is a pub landlord. So we've been to watch loads of the games at the pub. We go and watch the Lionesses games. We're super looking forward to the Euros, of course. It's a massive presence here in Manchester and it's a big part of what we do. I don't think the Lionesses realise the impact that they have had on people like me, but everybody, but young people, people throughout sport. The first inkling that I knew I was going to be a fan of Sarina Wiegman was her recent squad announcement. Really pleased to see Mary Earps back in the squad. I think she proves herself for Manchester United. It's really nice to see players that have kind of warranted their position because of club level, which I don't think we've seen a lot in women's football over the years. And it's also wicked to see NWSL players being called up from the American League, so Ebony Salmon and Rachel Daly getting more of a starting lineup. So I am delighted by the Sarina Wiegman appointment. I'm going to put it out there. I think we're going to win the Euros. What?
Rachel, some really, well, for me, standout words that Helen mentioned: transformative, finding your voice, community, and actually that's what sport does in football.
We've known that for such a long time, the impact that it's had on our lives and the characteristics that you build as a footballer. So to be able to open that up to anyone of any level, to females particularly, where there's been a real void and a real lack of opportunity for them, it's wonderful to see it in action with the Manchester Laces. It does have a massive impact on confidence, on so many elements of lives, that you can see that group of girls, that whole club, that whole setup is giving the opportunity to so many people across Manchester. And I hope that other cities and other people will replicate that across the country.
Yeah, well, Helen also mentioned about, I suppose, the Lionesses not knowing the impact that they have on people throughout sport.
I would like to think that the more senior members, the likes of Jill Scott, Steph Horton, Ellen White, those who've been in it and seen the transformation of the Lionesses to what it was, to where it is now will understand the impact that it's having, from European Championships 15, 20 years ago that I was involved in to where it is now, and your average football fan, male, female, family, old, young, all going to the pub, going together to watch the match, and, you know, exactly like it would be for a men's tournament. So I know that things have changed massively, and it is having a really positive impact. And to be it, you need to see it, and that's what we've got now.
And even actually having an impact at top level now, because the announcement just this week with UEFA doubling the women's prize money for next year's Euros. What's your thoughts on that?
I think it's a step in the right direction, and we've seen a lot of steps in the right direction over the years with women's football. But is it enough? I'm still not convinced. There's a lot of international nations that have now got equal pay for their respective national teams, men's and women's. I'd like to see, and I think people will keep fighting for better parity.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's a step in the right direction. We need to celebrate it, but we need to also keep continuing to do more and use our voice. Back to WSL this weekend after the international. What are the standout fixtures? What do we need to look out for?
Big game tomorrow, isn't it? Man United, Chelsea. Chelsea, who've been rattled at the start of this season, were upset and beat by Arsenal, who are looking like an absolutely unbelievable outfit. That, for me, is certainly the game of the weekend. There's a chase impact. Brighton are top of the league. You know, we've got to give them it. Often not talked about Brighton, and Hope Powell at the helm there, who's doing really good things for women's football, but right at the top as well. She has a vision. But there's some tasty games. The great thing is, you know, we're all across it here on a BBC this weekend.
You're working the game tomorrow.
I'm doing the game tomorrow. I'm dead excited. The kids are coming. Can't wait.
OK, well, from the development of women's football to a manager who wants to push on